Boom. On time.
And there we go. We are on time as you can be for somebody who hasn't done anything for nearly 3 weeks, I think. But, relatively punctual.
Mm.
Might not be every week, but it's going to be the same time on the weeks that it is on. What more do you want?
Yeah, there you go.
we can't do too many weeks, okay? No. We're like Thai food, okay? If you have it every week, then it just becomes food. You know what I mean? And you want to keep that special little bit of spice in your life. That's where we come in. So how are we doing, McManus?
Yeah, all good actually. Kids back to school. I get some free time. School runs are still
bye.
School runs are still fucking horrible, but yeah, it's these going to school for a couple of hours, which he's enjoying, by the way. Like, he's having time of his life, so he's just gotten into football. So mate,
was you a sports person? Are you a sports person?
I grew up in like a sports family, so it was kind of, do sports. It's like behind me is a shit ton of cricket stuff, and like a marquee for advertising cricket stuff, because my dad has a small cricket business, and he's always like, cricket's the best game in the world. It's like, I
don't want to talk to your dad about cricket. Absolutely not. I put cricket probably in the bottom 5 worst sports ever created. Right, what are we doing? There's just nothing happens. Just a little every now and then, nothing.
And run back and forth, catch the ball.
Run back and forth, maybe, but they don't do that every time I'm just like, well, if you're not, I need a bit of routine and consistency, at least. What I don't need is fucking multiple days of just, are they going to run this time? Are they not going to run this time? And when they don't, why are they not? I don't understand it.
There's 2 ways of this. There's playing the game cricket, which I can understand, but if that ball's coming at me, I ain't catching it, because do you know how heavy those balls are and what they're like being caught at like nearly over 90 miles an hour? Fuck off. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But there's playing the game and then going to watch cricket. Like, I would rather get some white paint it on a white wall, and decide if it's fucking drying, and sit there. Like, that's what I would do.
Like, have you ever been to cricket?
Yeah.
So is there a thing? Because like,
I grew up getting dragged to fucking matches at down St. Joseph.
Right, because like, some sports you'll go and watch and it's like, it's beer and hot dogs, right? Some sports you go and watch, like Wimbledon, it's the strawberries and the cream or what have you. Is there a thing for cricket? Like, what are we doing? Because those matches go on. So like, are we taking like a pot roast, or like, what are we doing?
No, it's all sandwiches and beer. Literally.
Sandwiches. Like, yeah, that makes sense for cricket, actually. Yeah, probably like cream cheese and cucumber sandwiches. Craft beer.
Yeah, and people getting pissed afterwards because it's just been a fucking long day.
No, it's one of, you know what, a lot of things like from American culture is things that have sort of been taken from ours and repurposed, which is sort of what we did to a lot of the cultures before us. So it goes along. But I tell you what, one thing the Americans improved upon, they took cricket and they turned it into baseball. Like, it's basically the same thing, but like amped up on steroids, right? I don't know the rules to either, but from my perspective, it's literally just like, they just took cricket and they just poured fucking meth and booze all over it in a cauldron, and like, that's what you got. Like, I would go and see a baseball game, not any chance in hell you're ever seeing me at cricket. You wouldn't have cricket at Madison Square Gardens, would you? You know what I mean? I don't even know if America has a cricket team. Maybe they do.
Fuck knows. I know.
Anyone watching this, if you're in the States, let us know what the cricket situation is all about, if there is a cricket situation. Or maybe you just have like softball. Is that like the happy medium between the cricket and the baseball? Is that like the...
Now that's just. I think that's for like youngers. Well, we play softball these days, but what's the point?
I don't know. I don't know. The ball's even soft, or is it just the players that are soft? I don't understand.
Well, it's in the name of the game, really, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're wondering, below cricket in the worst sports of all time, and I haven't decided on the order yet, but curling, that's down there. Like, somebody was just like sweeping fucking snow off their driveway one day and thought, you know what? There's something to this. There's not. It's shit. And golf is probably the... You know what? Golf is definitely worse than curling, because golf takes up like half a fucking continent, and we don't do anything other than like have business meetings. If you could have a business meeting and play a sport at the real time, that's not a real fucking sport. I'm sorry. Just cut it out. Cut it out. Build some houses for the homeless and just fucking knock it off, right? It's not a sport.
I played golf twice, and every time I've lost, like appallingly lost, like been totally shit at golf. I can play it on the computer, but the only reason I was shit because I was having good times, just going, how fucking far can I punt this fucker? Even like it's supposed to be in the direction that it's going. It's almost there, but not in the direction.
Nah, man. Here's the one time that I've come close to playing golf. My dad had a golf set in the shed or whatever. So one day while my dad... And he never played. My dad's like not really that guy. But he had a set, I guess, just in case he got invited or whatever. And then one day I was like, I'm going to fucking take this out. I need something to do in the summer or whatever. I fucking laid the ball out on the thing. And I fucking swung for that thing with... I know there's different ones. I just like, well, obviously the biggest one is like the best one, you know, dude brain or whatever. So it's this massive, big fucking clubby fucking wooden metal hybrid, whatever it is. Looks like a Captain Caveman, you know, cooking utensil or whatever. Right. And I swung for that ball so hard, and I missed that ball so hard, and the head came off of that golf club so hard, right? And I'm like, well, he doesn't use this. Like the head of the thing flew further than the ball ever would, right? So I was like, you know what? He never uses this. So just put the stick in the golf bag or whatever, and just balance the fucking head back on top of it. Cut to like 18 months later, my dad's been invited out for golf, which never happens. And he comes back, he's like, you been in my golf set?
No.
I don't think so. Probably not. Like, I don't go out. You know me, Dad.
I don't use golf.
And he's like, well, we got to the fourth hole and I needed this one fucking club out of the golf bag, and I started pulling it out and only the head came out, and that made me look really fucking good in front of all my golfing friends. So thanks for that. Like, I don't know, man. I can't even imagine. Like, that's got to be pretty humiliating in a golf circle, I would imagine, where you just like, right, lads, it's time for the big one. You know, like, so that was my one-time experience playing anything remotely close to golf. And this wasn't even on a field. This is in my nan's back garden. So I don't know where I was expecting that ball to go. Even if I did hit it, it probably wouldn't have ended well. I think the universe saved me by snapping that fucking thing because otherwise windows would be
Oh yeah.
holes. Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, here's a little bit of a segue, right? So, by the way, we are going to be mainly talking about Agatha all along. And maybe McManus will talk about Beetlejuice. I didn't get to see Beetlejuice in the end. There it is with the hand things, whatever.
And the witches and the wavy and woo woo woo.
And okay, all those characters are in it. Okay, I was just looking at the image there. But so they play golf in a TV show that I watched. This is how long it's been between last episode and this one. Is between that time I've binged the whole fucking series of Lost. Whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it when it came out. People were into it and I wasn't into it. I didn't watch it. And then I thought maybe I'll watch this. And then everyone said, nah, the ending was garbage. This most disappointed I've ever felt in my whole life. Like, do not even bother. So I never bothered. Cut to what, 10, 12, 15 years later. I'm like, you know what? I'd heard it mentioned a couple of times here, and I was like, I'm going to give that a go. Pretty good, McManus. I didn't mind that at all. Like you can see looking at it where, like, it definitely influenced all the TV shows that came after it. I imagine this was quite groundbreaking, you know, in sort of how cinematic it looked. You know, very high budget. You know,
it had
high budget, high concept.
It had a lot of people, like, when it came out, the advertising for it was ridiculous. It was every fucking way. And yeah, it's basically like Game of Thrones, and then it got to, I don't know what precise season it is, but I know around where people like dropped off and like where people carried on, and then it ended, and then everyone went, what?
Yeah, I can imagine where some of that stuff started to happen, because that first season and a half, 2 seasons maybe, is pretty stellar. You know, it's it's pretty basic. Obviously, everyone knows the story of fucking Lost by now, but we're on the island, we're playing Crash, we sprinkle in some mystery. We're not sure, you know, there's definitely more than just playing Crash on an island. There's definitely some extra shit going on that's made us be here and is kind of keeping us here, even though we don't really try and escape that much. I mean, a couple of people do here and there. But yeah, like the characters are really well defined. Like everyone, as it goes on, like people start making more and more questionable sort of decisions. But no matter how questionable the decisions are, like it justifies them with the flashbacks, and it explains to you like why these people are feeling that way. You know, with is it Michael with his kid? You know, and he wants to like, and the kid goes missing. He wants to get the kid back, and he starts doing some really like out there stuff to try and get the kid back. And then we find out like, you know, he had some really rough stuff going on with his ex-wife and the kid and stuff, and that's all fleshed out. And Evangeline Lilly's character, you know, you think, oh, you know, she's just some, you know, cute, freckly brunette, you know, Midwestern lady, and then obviously you find out she's got more of a checkered past going on. Some of the characters, they get a little bit too like, eventually they get a little bit too ahead of themselves. Like Saeed is really cool, and it's like, oh, okay, so he's got like a minor military background, like, and he can fix like radios and some stuff that's useful. But by the end of the show, he's like fucking James Bond. Like he can track people, capture them. Like he could probably do that thing with the nerve punch or whatever. Like he's got everything going on or whatever. But like for the first like few seasons at least, like everyone's really well defined. It's not too crazy, and they sprinkle in just enough like mysterious, possibly mystical elements or whatever to keep you going. And then I think what happened is this show became far more popular than they ever possibly could imagine. I think this was probably originally going to end after like 3 seasons because of how much it was costing production wise. And then I think because it blew up so much, they had infinitely more money and more time and, you know, to expand on the story or whatever. And it gets pretty crazy. It does it does a lot of different genre stuff with like, you know, like action adventure, but then there's like some episodes that are more like thrillery, and you know, there's a couple of like sort of, you know, there's a lot of Twilight Zone influence in there, so you get like some horror kind of, you know, and it handles it all pretty well.
Totally
like when it's supposed to be actiony, it holds up with the action, and when it's supposed to be like tense and thrillery, it definitely, you know, it manages all the different stuff fairly well. Apart from it became pretty fucking easy to spot when a flashback was coming. You know, someone would be like, "So, Jack, how are you going to fix things this time?" And then he just sort of looks off. He's like, oh, "Here we go, flashback time."
Roll on the flashback.
You could feel them coming a mile off. Like it got a little bit predictable.
Look over yonder.
Yeah, and obviously they had to keep doing more and more of the flashbacks or whatever because the longer it went on. But half the time with those, I was just like, oh, I just want to be on the island. Like, ironically, like I'm the opposite to the characters in the show. I'm just like, I want to get back to the island, like, because I find it much more interesting when they're sort of hiking and trekking and exploring more of that sort of stuff. But then eventually the show gets back to my level, because eventually in the show they're like, nah, we need to get back to the island. Like the whole first half of the show is like, we need to get off this island now or yesterday. We need to fix radios or, you know, make fire signals or build yachts and boats or whatever we're doing. Like, and eventually, like, we need to get off this island, man. We need to get off this island. And then cut to 3 seasons later. We need to get back to the island, man. We need to get back on the island. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. And last couple of things I'll say. The most hated character, I assume, I don't know, but I imagine my most hated character is this fucking, he's sort of like the main villain of the show, this Ben guy. He's the guy who's in Shaw, right? The Weasley little bug-eyed dude. You've not seen Lost?
No, I know. No, I said Ben.
You know Ben Linus. I thought you said I haven't seen it. I was like, wait, what?
He's a complete douchebag and just want to like reach through the TV and strangle the cunt.
So his strength at the beginning when he comes into it is like, well, obviously he's hiding way more than he knows. But then it's like the longer and longer it goes on, it's like, okay, he's got more. He's taken us to a new area. He's telling us new things throughout the history. But long after he's exceeded all information, all fucking use, yet he continues to just lie and manipulate into his lie. Just fucking kill this guy. Why are we not just killing this guy? He's got no fucking benefit to us after like season 4. Maybe 5 if you're being generous. Like, just fucking get rid of this guy already. And they don't. He's one of the few that survived the whole thing. He's one of the last people standing at the very end of this. I'm like, come on, really? We're gonna fucking blow up the Korean couple, and Saeed is gonna die. And spoilers, by the way, because everyone else has seen this show but me, so I'm assuming this is fine. Like, everyone is pretty much dying. Technically, everyone dies, because I'll get to the finale in a second. I mean, obviously, spoiler alert for life, everyone dies eventually, right? So that's fine. So he's one of the few that survive. All right, whatever. And then we go from flashbacks, and eventually we start going flash forwards. Okay, throw that twist in there. And then we're not content with flashbacks or flash forwards. Now we're flashing to what is presumably like an alternate reality where nobody went to the island in the first place. at least that's what you assume it is. Then plot twists, here we go. No, that's not their alternate life. This is them in the afterlife, right? This is everyone in the afterlife. After everyone has died, at some point in the future, we don't even see everyone die. But and then until eventually they all meet at a fucking church at a big funeral in the afterlife after the last one of them has died. If they're in the afterlife, then why are they still getting fucking kidnapped and fucking tortured and fucking their wives are dying? Like, it's supposed to be the fucking afterlife. Like, that shit should not be happening. What are we doing? But we had to do that to make you not think that it was the afterlife until we get to the final episode. And it's like, yeah, most of the stuff that you've seen for this last season has in fact been heaven or hell, maybe. I don't know. And we don't even find out really what happens to a good half of the characters, because a lot of them die sort of in the last season-ish. And then, but a lot of them, we just never find out what really happens to them. They all just meet Jack and pat him on the back like, oh, you finally made it to the afterlife because you're dead now. Like, we don't, so I can understand. I didn't hate it, but I could understand if you'd been watching that show over like 5 or 6 years or whatever, and that's how they ended it. Like, half of the characters die, but you don't even know they die. You just know that they get to heaven, and you miss out on what the fuck was that? Like, a lot of the juiciest stuff would be there, right? Like, the people that do survive, like reacclimating, getting back to normal life after being on the island, you know, not including the people that got off the island, went back to the island, then got off the island, then died, but we don't see it. A lot of the juiciest stuff would have been there, I would have thought. So I can understand why people are disappointed, but as a binge, I think it holds up probably better than, like, I didn't feel as like robbed by the ending. It could have been, obviously it could have been better, but I'm glad I watched it. It took me like, what? It's been 3 weeks. So I did all of Lost in about 3 or 4 weeks. So I think I just started it when we did the last one. Oh yeah, this ain't no fucking Netflix pushy old 8-episode seasons. This is back in the day of real TV for real men, where it's fucking 22, 24 episodes a season. For them, I think the last 2 are like 16 episodes or whatever, because I think they got hit with a writer's strike towards the end. No excuse. But yeah, 22 plus episode seasons. So, and they're all like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You know, with very short opening and credit sequences, not eating up the time as they maybe do in some other shows that we might be talking about in a little bit.
Some really do eat up their fucking, at least. Who is the? I was gonna say, I can't remember right now, but there's someone who butchers like the opening, and so it's like 22 minutes an episode.
Mate, Disney Plus is notorious for it. It's fucking savage.
Credits.
Like,
I fucking hate them for their credits. Absolutely hate it.
All the time, you're like, oh, okay, new Disney Plus show. It's like, oh, okay, they are always a little bit short with their episodes, but it's high production more often than it isn't. So, okay, fine. And then you're like, oh, here we go. It's all right, everyone. Today's episode is going to be a record-breaking 41 minutes long for a Disney Plus show. Like, here we go. We can really dig in now. And it's like, no, there's just 8 minutes of fucking credits at the end. Like with The Mandalorian or The Acolyte, where they just like 8 minutes and you're just looking at concept art and fucking music and just slowly showing the names of every fucker who worked on this show.
Well, I did like that about The Mandalorian, though. You do get to see like the concept art, and it's like, I know, but there's nothing.
Yeah, it was cool, but also it was all right. But at the same time, I'm very much like, yeah, this is just a lot cheaper than like producing an extra 5 minutes of episodes. Like let's just put all the concept art. Let's just all this fucking photos that we just had lying around the office floor. You know, let's just put those up on the screen and make it look like we put more money into this than we did.
What they should do, right, is go the way of how recent video games have done it. Like, you say, you got the play button, you got the trader button, like that. You know how they got the buttons on Disney, and
Yeah.
like games, they should have. If you're so fucking worried, like everyone needs their credit, put a fucking credits button, and then that will play that 8-minute video of the fucking credits of this particular fucking thing. And then if you want to
Yeah.
watch the credits, there you fucking can. You don't have to sit through the end credits.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like everyone deserves to have their name in there and have their little moment or whatever. Not to
Yeah.
sound patronising, have your little moment. But you know what I mean? Like everyone deserves it. And I guess if you put some artwork and some extra little nuggets like that in there, it's gonna have you more compelled to watch it. But I don't know, just don't just rely on it to like fill up time when I'm like getting all excited, like here we go, this one's longer than half an hour. And you know, looking at something like The Acolyte or Mandalorian season 3, where it's like, oh, here we go, and it's like, yeah, no, these are just like 22-minute episodes with nearly 10 minutes worth of opening and closing credits. And it's like, that's not a TV show. That's not enough for me to get into. And you know, admittedly, some of those shows, I'm not going to get into it now, but probably for the best, I probably didn't want more than half an hour of those shows. But if you did good shows, then I would want more of it, and I would be disappointed that I wasn't getting more of it. But yeah, no, I think Agatha does all right. Should we just go into it, McManus? Is there anything else you want to talk about, or should we just jump in for some Agatha?
No.
All right. So 2 episodes, and yeah, this doesn't do what those other shows are doing. This is a little bit longer, the episodes, I think, than the last couple of Star Wars shows, and maybe even the last couple of Marvel shows, whatever they were. Probably She-Hulk, which more like which works more like a 22-minute sitcom kind of show for that anyway. So I won't get into that. I like She-Hulk, fuck off. But I mean, it's all right. It's not as bad as everyone else made it out to be. But anyway, Agatha is back, everyone. It was indeed Agatha all along. Now, I do think, because there is very much a clear point, I think it was in the pandemic where Disney were like, fuck, movies aren't going to theaters anymore. Just make loads of streaming shows.
What can we throw out there?
Give every character a fucking streaming show. WandaVision, that was a big hit. Everyone liked the song. It was #1 on Spotify that week. Agatha All Along. Yep, throw that into production. People like Catherine Hahn. Let's do it. And then the pandemic ended, and everyone was like, fuck, we're putting too much money into streaming. We need to do more movie stuff. We need to not make shows and movies about every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry character that pops up. All right, but I guess Agatha was already like too far in production, so they're not going to cancel it like maybe they have with Ironheart and some other ones. So, and then you've got strikes and all of that other stuff. So this show is like, if you're riding the hype wave that is WandaVision, you're not doing a very good job, because this show is like far too late. Like, we probably don't need this show. I don't think anyone really had any excitement for this show. I think the closest they had for excitement was when they kept announcing all these different names for the show, and people were like, well, what one is it? And then it turned out, in a stroke of marketing genius, no, the title is Agatha All Along. You get it? The title was Agatha All Along. Cool. Okay, so that's fun. That kind of rides in sort of, you know, on brand for the character, and sort of, you know, the sort of weird, like, meta kind of tongue-in-cheekness of it all. And WandaVision is still probably the gold standard of Disney Plus television. I think a lot of people would probably agree on that. But is it too late, McManus? Was it going to be too little too late? Was anyone going to care? Was this just going to be a throwaway thing that they just sort of, like I said, had gotten too far into production to cancel it and just like, okay, well, we're going to just have to throw this out now, sort of like what Echo was, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we're kind of just going to have to throw together whatever we've got and just quick, there you go. Tell you what, man, I was pretty surprised. But go on, what are you going to say? What are your opening thoughts on this?
I hope it fucking fits in somewhere, because I'm wondering where it's going to go, because I'm quite invested, because like I wasn't excited about it. I like the look of it because it's all dark and like fucking, what's the fucking name? Catherine Hahn and fucking
Aubrey Plaza. Love both of them. Parks and Rec.
They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was just like, "Ooh, witches, Halloween, a new show. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. It's Marvel, so fuck it." And I was just like, "Ooh, where's this gonna go?" Because I've seen, like, you see the Easter eggs, all this, like the fucking guy who plays Teen, like you see when he tries to say his name, and then an M just rolls across his mouth, and like.
Yes. There's some stuff going on there, and I want to get to that as well, like in a little while, because we got 2 episodes, and I'm glad that, the fact that they didn't just throw all of this out in one go like they did with Echo. I'm like, all right, not only is it week by week, we're getting 2 to start, which is good sign. I like it when they do that, but we're getting 8 or 9 episodes of this. I was like, wow, is there really 8 or 9 episodes worth of story in this story that we don't even know what it's going to be, how it's going to tie in, if it's going to tie in, or is it just like a side spin-off thing that's just going to be a bit of fun, week to week and Halloween season or whatever. And I'll tell you what, man, as this show starts, and it's like a fucking police drama procedural. Like, this is not the Agatha that we're used to. This is a very sort of subdued, sort of down and out, dreary,
ain't got shit.
Fed up cop, like with some gnarly ass fucking murder case, literally like a woman just alone in a ditch, which is sort of very sort of fitting for where Agatha sort of finding herself in her life, So I was like, okay, I'm loving all that. This is very like CSI. Do you ever watch a show with David Tennant called Broadchurch?
Yeah.
You ever seen this? It's like him and I think it's him and Olivia Colman are like 2 cops in Scotland, and it's all very cold and wintry and dreary. It very much reminded me of that. And then it sort of, as he kind of starts progressing, it's sort of got elements of like The Ring or Mama, or those kind of like James Wan-ish sort of, horror kind of.
Both them movies, awesome movies, but fuck them.
It's sort of very much got that kind of vibe to it.
An ITV murder production, basically.
ITV murder production, kind of mixed with a James Wan-ish kind of thing going on, like, at least for like the intro to like a James Wan or that kind of like horror, movie where it's like we're not getting a lot. Like, it's very much playing it like very deadpan and serious. There's a slight hint of tongue in cheek as we're progressing through the first episode, and I'm like, I love this. All of a sudden, I'm like, I see why they want to do like 8 or 9 episodes. Like, I am down for this. This is going to slowly unravel as we work our way through it, and and she kind of realizes who she is. And I'm like, I'm so ready for that. I'm like, Aubrey Plaza's coming in. There's clearly, she knows something. There's a couple of times where she says things that sort of trigger Agatha, the way she's like, oh no, I don't like that, or That's something, but we're gonna skate over that, and we're not gonna fully go into it. But like, you can see like she's getting literally like hot under the collar, like uncomfortable at certain moments, and she's just living this sort of, you know, miserable, solitary, you know, staying up trying to crack this case, you know, like run of the mill, you know, worn down police kind of. So I'm like, yes, I want this for like 5, 6, 7 episodes, and then all of a sudden like the lid gets blown off. It's very much like what we got with WandaVision, right? Where it's like sitcom of the week, different era, and we're going to work our way through until it all slowly comes apart. But I was like, if this does kind of like the reverse of that, where it's all like, instead of being like this happy-go-lucky world painted on top of like Wanda grieving, we get the reverse. So it's like a miserable, you know, miserable kind of existence that's slowly going to pick away to reveal this more like colorful character underneath kind of thing. I was very excited about that. But don't get your hopes up, because that whole fucking facade is just blown off like halfway through the first episode. And we get into shit a lot quicker than I thought we were going to be getting into shit, my manners. Did you feel the same way? How was you buying into like the opening vibe, and did you want that to go on longer, or was you disappointed that
like, I was just like, what the fuck? Where are we going with this? What the fuck is this? But one, like, what caught me is when she was going through the book, and it says like, I'd like, hang on, what? And I had to read out read what it was. A dialogue and rhetoric, known history of learning and debate, and like, and you put all those words, like all the letters of the beginning of them words, and it's dark cold.
I didn't love that. I thought that was a little bit like on the nose, like, and like it was just like they wanted to get to it, like they wanted to start dropping that stuff in quickly. I thought, well, we've got 8 or 9 episodes of this, and again, I'm not sure. I think it's 8. It could be 9. I'm not sure. Fact check me if you're watching and you in the comments and you've got the episode listing up. Please do engage away. It's good for the algorithm, guys and girls and people, anyone you want, get in there, right? So yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So the first, you know, it's an acronym. I was like, okay, that's a little bit, you know, a little bit by the by, but that's fine. And obviously Aubrey Plaza comes in, was like straight away, you know, this character isn't what this character is, and maybe they drop hints in episode 2 as to who this character could be. Again, it's a very on the nose hint, and I'm think they're trying to conjure up, they want to recapture that Mephisto rhetoric that was going on with WandaVision, right? Everyone's like, oh, this is Mephisto, that's Mephisto, that character might be Mephisto, this could be a spell from Mephisto, this relates to that thing that Mephisto did in that Spider-Man run. Like everyone was just like going off their minds trying to predict that stuff, and eventually it all kind of led to nothing. It was just very much a Wanda-centric thing with all these like hints to other stuff to throw you off.
You get nothing.
In this, and I don't want to jump ahead too far, I'll tell you what, we're going to backtrack. We're going to talk about another character who might be a character. He's probably the character that everyone thinks he is, because I think this is too obvious. I'll talk about, what's his name? James Locke? Is that the actor who's playing, as you referred to a minute ago, is just listed as teen. And there's a couple of moments in the 2 episodes where they start to like get into who he might be or what his backstory is, and the show does fun, clever things to like not let you. There's even a scene where he goes to explain his whole backstory, and she just can't hear him.
Yeah, it's just like someone turns the volume down on him. It's like,
you think about with the car, like, you think it's the radio, right? Because like, if you're thinking that your fucking volume's gone out on your TV, she thinks that the radio's up too loud, so she's messing with the volume, and it's just like. So I think there's some kind of spell.
and not freaking out. It's like, this is fucking
Yeah.
interesting.
Because when he first
We'll
shows
find
up,
out where this goes.
yeah, because when he first shows up, he says some shit in Latin or whatever, and then you find out a little bit later that he broke the spell that Agatha was under. So the whole thing shattered. She straight away, boom. I know who I am. I know that I've been put here. I'm now realizing that this whole thing was a facade. That's not really the librarian. That's not really the police captain. It turns out I thought I was interrogating this kid, but I just kidnapped him and locked him up in my closet. So that's fine. So it's sort of like she's being put in this world within a world that, like, because obviously Wanda had created Westview and kind of made it to be like her own idyllic life. And then as punishment to Agatha for doing that to her, she's now put Agatha in that world. But she's also put on this whole overlay on top of it where it's like, no, you're a cop. You're just going to keep trying to solve a case and go round in circles. And that's going to be sort of your purgatory or your punishment. You're lost, if you will. And then no, we're like, fuck that. This kid comes in, he busts it all wide open. So we're straight away, and she even says it in the show where she's like, if you broke the Scarlet Witch spell, you're probably important. Like there's something going on there. So he breaks it open. But then when, like we say, when he tries to talk about like his origin, or like they do the thing on his mouth or the thing with the volume, I think that says that there's somebody's got a spell that's stopping her from finding out who he is, or there's still some levels to the reality that we haven't broken through yet. So so maybe even a lot of the stuff that happens in episode 2, is that all part of like the facade? Is that all really happening as we think it's happening? You know, where do you think? You think, because we're talking about we're going to find this road. There's a whole lot of Wizard of Oz fucking symbolism going on here. We want to find the witch's road that's going to lead to some higher power that's going to allow us to meet for Agatha to get her power back and sort of find out more of the bigger picture and maybe break out of even further than we already have. Do you think that's as it looks? Is there more to it, or do you think that's going to be sort of the main plot of the show, is like looking for this witch power thing?
Yeah, I think it's going to weave. I think it's going to weave in and out of each other. Like it'll take an episode to explain something, and then like probably the next episode, like we'll get closer to finding out. It seems like a lot of shit does in the space of episodes that we get. It does seem like a load of stuff is actually going to happen. So it's just, I would have binged it seriously, like just binged like it continuous. I really do get fucking wound up when I have to like, oh, this is coming next week. Why?
Yeah, I've never liked week to week, like a lot of the stuff that I'm watching, like, you know, Lost and other stuff, like I usually come to it later, you know, after it's finished. Very rarely do I watch stuff week to week. Even with comics, I buy the trade paperbacks. I can't be waiting every month for a fucking 30-page of story. You know what I mean? I need it all. Like, I'm greedy. Like, if I've got a whole pack of chocolate in the fridge, a whole big share size chocolate bar in the fridge, I can't come to it every night and break a little bit off and eat it. As soon as I've opened that, I need to eat the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I would have very easily have binged this whole thing. But you know what? I'm into it. Like, we got 2 episodes, so like, and there's enough of an intrigue in there where I'm like, this isn't like universe breaking stuff. This isn't going to be like setting up the storyline of the next Avengers or whatever. So I'd like, this is just enough of like a nice little side mystery that I can probably survive, you know, week to week and have fun with it. It's not going to eat at me completely, you know, trying to figure out where this is all going. Because I think there is going to be some stuff in here that's going to like set up stuff. Like I've always wanted to see more of like the mystical, magical side of the Marvel universe. We don't really.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
taken us a long time to get into that stuff, you know, considering we sort of started out off of obviously Iron Man and everything kind of had to spring out from there, you know, being like believable and, you know, and sort of grounded in some way. But I think like I'm ready. I've been ready for more of this stuff for like a while now. And it's taken us a little while longer. I would have liked to have already seen, you know, like a Blade, which is taking too long, or Ghost Rider, you know, which is maybe one of the things that they're teasing in this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick up on it, McManus?
Yeah.
So when she's writing the list, right, and she's like, right, we've got to get these different witches who all specialize in different things because we need it's like on an RPG, right? We need the different classes so we can progress through the quest line. So we need like a potion lady, we need an artifacts lady, we need like a black mage and a white mage or whatever, you know, like we need the whole gang to get our way through this. So she makes a list and there's one mysteriously left off the list. She literally like takes the list and eats the list. They're like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come back to it later and she's like, well, does she have a black heart? Because you literally drew a black heart next to it. And he's like, that's because I had a black pen, you know? And it was like, is Blackheart going to be the Mephisto of this season? Is Aubrey Plaza playing Blackheart?
Well, they already mentioned it because, like, it's like which goes, you don't have a heart. Like, yes, like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do. And it's black, and it bleeds for you. And this is like,
is it too on the nose, or is it like hiding in plain sight?
yes,
I don't think it is going
to. I think it really is hiding in plain sight. But like, you got to know if you know.
Because there's a for anyone who doesn't know, Blackheart is the child of Mephisto. Normally is sort of like the primary Ghost Rider villain. Was the villain in the first Ghost Rider movie that isn't very good, played by Wes Bentley. Would it be the first time that they've gender bent a character? That's absolutely fine. Would it be the first time that Aubrey Plaza has played a seemingly original, like, Marvel character created for a TV show and then turned out to be a big Marvel villain in disguise? I don't know if you watch Legion, McManus, but Aubrey Plaza was in Legion.
Yes,
and
the dream.
The Dan Stevens X-Men mental hospital show. Yeah,
Dream King Demon.
she's the Shadow
King. That's it.
Yeah, she's the Shadow King. So for the first season,
that fat smiling fat fucker in the corner who keeps going.
Yeah, because she's just like one of the inmates in the mental institution or whatever it is, and then the big twist at the end of season 1 of Legion is that she's actually the Shadow King, who again is like a, you know, typically depicted as a male character, also obviously a mystical kind of demonic kind of character. So it wouldn't be the first time. So I don't think she's actually going to be Blackheart. I think they're trying to capture that Mephisto buzz, sort of lightning in a bottle for a second time. I think they're just trying to generate some conspiracy theories and some online chatter. I think it's all very intentional, because there was loads of that sort of stuff sprinkled in WandaVision. There was hints towards the Grim Reaper character that never obviously turned out to be anything. They did a whole bunch of different Easter eggs that didn't go anywhere, and I swear I spotted more than one Ghost Rider Easter egg. Now I might be looking now, maybe I'm the conspiracy theorist, McManus, but they hovered. There was a shot in beginning of episode 2 where they're walking through the town or whatever, and I didn't quite catch the full thing, but I'm pretty sure it was like Carter's motorbikes or automobile shop or something. It was definitely Carter's something, and it looked like a used car or a vehicle yard or a scrap yard or something like that. Now, the original Ghost Rider was a man called Carter Slade, right? Who was also in that Nicolas Cage movie with Wes Bentley, played by Sam Elliott. And he's the original Ghost Rider. And I'm like, they hovered on that fucking shop sign for a few seconds too long, and it looked like the kind of place you might find like a fucking old motorbike or a fucking wagon or some cowboy shit, right? You know, or some biker shit, cowboy shit, something in that area. Go and watch it again. It's definitely in there. So I'm like, are they going to sprinkle Ghost Rider stuff throughout this whole show in the same way that they sprinkled Mephisto hints, but turned out to not really be hints in WandaVision? Because I am a Ghost Rider fan, McManus, and I want to see some Ghost Rider. Are they going to blue ball me?
Probably for a while.
Yeah.
I don't. And Keanu Reeves just turns up and then his face explodes.
That would be pretty. Keanu Reeves as Johnny Blaze would be pretty good. It would be pretty good casting. I don't think, even if they did cast a Ghost Rider, I don't think they're gonna. He's not going to appear in this first, like. No. But maybe this lays some groundwork. But let's go off on the tangent. So Keanu Reeves famously loves motorcycles in real life, right? Has this he's famous for a very sort of zen, kind of calm, some might say emotionless demeanor that he has.
His fucking dog.
Very good at like physical body work. Is a skill you might want to have if you were playing a Ghost Rider. Again, loves a motorbike, grim, grizzled, probably the right age. It's a miracle to me, to be honest, that Keanu Reeves hasn't found his way into a Marvel thing, because he seems like the kind of actor that would be like top of that list, right? Yeah. Now,
I'd fucking hire him.
I would definitely be doing it. So I always thought Keanu Reeves would have been a good pick for Silver Surfer, right? Mm-hmm. Because similar reasons, he's got that zen, calm demeanor. He was also in a famous surfing movie, little known as Point Break, right? And Marvel like to do that kind of thing where they cast somebody and it's sort of like that actor is sort of like has like a reference in their career, you know, like they've done that kind of thing a few, you know, like sort of like what they did with Evan Peters playing Quicksilver and stuff in WandaVision. You know, they do that kind of shit quite a lot in their casting. So it's like, Keanu Reeves would have been a pretty good Silver Surfer, but then he's not Silver Surfer. That's fine. Man rides a mean motorbike. Give me Keanu Reeves as Johnny Blaze, and then give me like a Ryan Gosling or a Norman Reedus as your Danny Ketch.
So funny you said that, because I was just looking up Ghost Rider pictures, and there's a picture of Ryan Gosling wearing the black and white striped fucking jacket, and it's just got him in a cartoon form.
I don't love Gosling. I don't love Gosling. He wouldn't be my first pick, but just coming at it from the angle of like, if you're a studio and you want like a hot name, excuse the pun, but you want like a hot name and somebody who dudes like, who ladies like, who's a big star but not too famous. You know, I mean, he's pretty fucking famous, but you don't, you know, he's not Tom Cruise, you know what I mean? He's sort of in that mid-range, you know, and coming off of Barbie, you know, obviously that put him into a new level of like popularity, you know. Also a dude that's known for playing characters that ride drive cars and motorcycles. He's got that kind of vibe. You know, he's worn a few leather jackets in his time, and I'm not just talking about Ken, right? So he wouldn't be my first pick, but I would totally be like, I could see the appeal. And I think if you're doing the age thing as well, with like where Johnny Blaze would be compared to where a Danny Ketch would be, I think Keanu Reeves, Ryan Gosling is probably a good balance there. But I digress. I would like to see Ghost Rider. This is obvious, and I don't think we're too far out. Hopefully, there's been rumors now for ages that Marvel have got writers working on a Midnight Sun script. Absolutely, they have.
Oh,
and they always.
Sorry. You just sprang out Midnight Suns. I went to that. I'm just talking about the game that came out on the platform. By the way, I've not read any like the comics or theories. I've not read any of that. I'm so glad I didn't spend £60 on that fucking game. No,
I've heard it's okay, but this is literally what I was going to say.
It's all right if you like Final Fantasy games and if you have the fucking patience to play games like that. I did not think it was going to be like that because I hate them games with a passion. This might be heresy probably more, right now.
Yeah, it's probably more up my alley than it is yours.
Fantasy. Yeah, I've never played Final Fantasy in my fucking life, and I don't intend to start now.
Yeah, no, I do prefer more sort of action RPG kind of vibe as opposed to like, whereas like maybe like the Avengers game or the Spider-Man game is much more just straight action game. Midnight Suns is more of that RPG element. So that's probably more up my alley. What I was going to say though, they always do this. Anything that's like a lesser known property, when they start dropping those characters into like other mediums, you know that they're trying to build the awareness. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to make people more aware of a character before they start dropping big movie money on them. Like they did it with Guardians. They started popping up in like more comics and games and animated stuff in the few years before that they announced the Guardians movie. So I 100% think that the Midnight Suns game, you know, was part of a long-term strategy to like build up the name brand recognition. And 100% there's been stories the last like year now that Marvel have got somebody working on a Midnight Sun script. Obviously Blade is already in the works. Moon Knight has already been out there. Doctor Strange is already out there. It's time. We've done all the sciencey fucking shit. Space and tech we've probably done to death at this point. It's time, everybody. It's time to get mystical all up in this shit. I'm fucking ready for it.
Sorry. It's either me or like it says Ryan Gosling is set to play Johnny Blaze in the 2025 reboot of Ghost Rider titled Ghost Rider Reborn. The film is directed
none
by
of that is official.
Maletsky, who is known for his work on John Wick series.
None of that is official, but that rumor has been flying around for a good couple of years now. The Ryan Gosling thing, the Chad Stahelski thing has been out there. I 100% believe that, you know, they're being looked at. I think, again, I don't know how the inner workings are, but I guarantee all this stuff is, you know, is in the works to various degrees. So I wouldn't be surprised to bring it back to Agatha if they are going to start laying some serious groundwork for a lot of that stuff, the mystical stuff, the Darkhold stuff. Is Scarlet Witch coming back? Anyone who thinks that she died at the end of Doctor Strange 2, you're out of your mind. It very obviously looked like she got out of there. Little red bolt, like whip, she's gone. Like you don't see a body, they're not dead. You need to be Gwen Stacy, neck snapped, flailed out in my fucking arms with blood pouring out your ears. If you're not that, you're not dead. So
it's just
Scarlet Witch is coming back.
We found this woman, like she's wearing a hoodie. You don't see her face. Like she was crushed. Like she don't look very like when you say crushed. crushed means fucking crushed. Not laying there in trousers and a hoodie. Like, didn't look very fucking crushed to me, did she?
No.
And then you go see the toe
Scarlet
tag, and it
Witch is
says
up there with
Wanda
fucking Jean
Maximoff. I was
Grey.
like, what the fuck did they do there?
Yeah, no, like I say, look, Jean Grey and Scarlet Witch, they're in the same category of like, bitches will not stay down. They will be back. They're always going to be back. They're going to fucking be back in your life, eating your fucking go ahead apple and blackberry bars out of your cupboard, wearing your hoodie when you wake up in the morning, stealing your shit like there was nothing ever happened. I am not speaking from experience. Give me Matt my go ahead bars. You know who you are, right? So
1 second, I'll be right back.
No worries. So yeah, mystical stuff be coming, and this is again like they've had this show like greenlit since WandaVision came out because they knew they wanted to ride that hype. The character was popular, the show was popular. They wanted to carry that going, and like you don't want to make it so integral to anything in the Marvel universe. But if you're gonna be doing this character anyway, which is still a wild choice, even if it was a popular character from one of their most popular shows, it's still like nobody would give a shit if they never made nobody wanted Agatha. Even like we liked her in in WandaVision, we didn't want. We were just asking for it. But it's like, oh, okay, they're gonna do Agatha. Yeah, we'll give that a shot. So if you're gonna do that, you might as well use the opportunity, right, to start sprinkling, expanding, planting seeds, laying a lot of groundwork and sort of teeing up some possibilities of things to come down the line. That's the expression, right? Down the line, up the line, up the line, don't up the line. Anyway, this is why I need another person to talk to, everybody, because pure unfiltered Dean is just going to be getting bad. Look, Agatha deserves her own show. Maybe I do not. All right. So, I need a Scarlet Witch to my coven of chaos or whatever it is.
No, mate. So I've had plenty of Scarlet Witches. Don't need them anymore.
We will not pursue that line of questioning. So yeah, I'll tell you. Here's what I like. We got a lot of the original cast back from WandaVision. All the like the random people filling out the town of Westview. We've got the librarian. Cool. We've got the that guy living next door.
Because honestly, if they had different people and it's Westview and it's what the fuck are these people?
It would have been a bit of a bummer, yeah. Like I definitely think it helps sort of bring you back into that world, even if like at first I didn't recognize. It's like, oh, when she said, oh, the librarian, her name was Dottie. I was like, oh yeah, she was the neighbor from WandaVision. And then what's her name? Deborah Ann Rowe. What's her name? I should know her name because I love her. She was she was the mum in the 70s show, right?
Oh yeah.
What's her name? I will have it right in a second. Deborah Jo Rupp. There we go. Anyway, I've always loved her because she played a character in Friends. She was the wife of Phoebe's brother.
Mm-hmm. Oh she was the teacher.
she was the teacher. They have the triplets. She's much older than Frank, and she looks exactly the same age now. And my God, that is a woman I could wake up to. God damn. Anyway, so it's delightful to see her and stuff. Aubrey Plaza, again, I've always loved Aubrey Plaza. She should be doing much big. I mean, not that this isn't big, but I always thought her career was going to go kind of much bigger, like a lot earlier, because she's like just so watchable, so fun and wild and charismatic, and never get tired of seeing Aubrey Plaza in things.
Yeah.
But then when she does do movies, she doesn't always pick the best ones. Like she did that really, was it like Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro or whatever? Like she does some pretty lame shit outside of like her TV work.
It's just me, like, but when I started watching Aubrey Plaza in Parks and Rec, and to be at the beginning, I didn't really like her because it was just the way so negative. It's just the way her face looked and how fucking deadpan she is. Just like, well, it's like, shut the fuck up. But she's funny anyway.
You grow to love her, yeah. I'll tell you what though, like to be completely honest, I much preferred her in episode 1, where she's in the cop role and you're like, okay, there's something going on. She's definitely hiding something. And then when she went sort of like full witch mode, I was like, oh, with the black makeup and like the ninja shinobi gear she was wearing. And then she's like, oh, I have no heart. I feel no pain. Cut your hand. It's like, this is a little bit Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You know what I mean? Like, this is bordering on like, this is like almost Charmed level of like cheese. But maybe it was just because I wasn't expecting the turn to happen that quickly. I thought we was going to be getting at least like a few episodes of just like playing it like mostly straight before we started to introduce all those elements. So by the time we got into episode 2 and they start singing the song, I'm like, oh, this is bad. But I tell you what, by the time they finished singing that song, I was so fucking into it. I'm like, yeah, all right, fucking do your harmonies, girls. Go do your bad bitch shit and open up a fucking stairwell.
When I first heard it too, it felt so fucking cringe.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate this. Yeah, but I was into it. By the end of the song, I was like, I was really enjoying like their performances and how they were all sort of working together in the circle. Obviously, I would have liked a bit more time establishing the different witches, because it's very much like, oh, well, Wanda's hidden me in this town to seal me away from my magical powers, but also there's like half a dozen other witches just living in this town, casually running fucking apothecaries and shit. So it's like, that's a little bit rushed. And she was like, they did the whole, they go around and recruit them all, you know, like it's a heist movie, you know, like that Rick and Morty heist episode. And there was like, oh, we've got to really quickly like introduce all these like 4 other characters. So we're just going to give you one scene.
I'm in.
Exactly that, yeah. It's like, oh, I ain't doing none of your weird fucking black magic shit, Agatha. That road ain't real. I'm just going to make my potions and do my health thing. And then it's like, I'm in. Here we go. 5 o'clock on the dot. So I was like, they kind of rushed all of that. Just liked a little bit more time. And again, we don't know where it's going. But it's like there's 8 episodes of this, and I don't imagine it's going to be some fucking universe, you know, spanning mythological journey. Like, you could probably have some more room to build that stuff up in the first half of the season. And, you know, I don't need... I maybe I'm in the minority. I think maybe a lot of people who are watching this, maybe they want more of like the magic and the witch and the Marvel-y stuff to kind of get kicking off sooner. But I would have been so happy with like 2 or 3 episodes of just Agatha not even knowing who she is and just going through the motions with these fucking, you know, really miserable fucking murder cases and stuff. I would have been invested in that for a bit longer, but I'm looking forward to where it's going, McManus. You were feeling optimistic?
Yeah, no. As soon as like the second episode finished, like, I want more. I want to watch more. I want to know what, like, I want want to see all the little Easter eggs and bits just Easter eggs, or is this shit has a bigger meaning to it? Like give me the next issue, motherfuckers.
Yeah, and hopefully we will. We'll definitely talk about the rest. I'm not sure if we'll do it every week, but even if we get them in like 2-episode blocks, maybe, and depending on what George is doing, because George ain't going to be watching this.
Give him the rundown. It's spooky.
Yeah,
it's witches. This is what you need to know, George.
Maybe you could watch it. It probably. I mean, you definitely kind of need to watch WandaVision, I think.
Yeah,
and
to know what like why the beginning starts and who is Agatha. Why is she doing this? Like,
yeah, and even just to sort of get a feel for like, you know, not even necessarily like the plot beats, but just sort of the whole thing of like, okay, well, that was a show that kind of played on, you know, she's a witch, but she's doing this TV kind of meta thing. And like I said earlier on, this is sort of like almost like sort of like a darkened version of that. So I don't know, you probably need to have watched WandaVision and to some extent Doctor Strange 2 as well. So, I mean, that's the problem with all this Marvel stuff now. I mean, some less than others. And for something that is supposed to be much more of like a side spin-off thing, it is kind of weird that you do need to have watched more, you know, like 2 or 3 other things to watch. Whereas, you know, like it or don't like it, like She-Hulk, you don't really need to have watched anything. Moon Knight, you don't need to have watched anything, you know. But this is sort of more in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier camp of like, this definitely
you've got to watch to understand. Basically,
you need a bit more context, I think, which is unfortunate because, like I say, it is sort of like a weird side kind of offshoot character. So it would have been cool if they would have been able to figure out a way to make this more just by itself. But I'm in for the ride, absolutely in for the ride, and the ride through spooky season has not ended. We won't stay too long on it because I haven't seen it because I had problems, technical issues that prevented me from being able to see it, and that's all I'll say about that. But Manos, you did get a chance to see Beetlejuice.
Yes.
I wasn't feeling very optimistic about this. Like I thought the trailers were bad. They showed well too much. It's another legacy sequel. Like, sure, Michael Keaton's probably going to be reliable, but you know, he was fine in The Flash, and the rest of the movie was just garbage. It's like, can he really save it? Can he capture any of the magic? Tim Burton as well has had hits and misses.
Going back to The Flash, this is where me and everyone else differ. The whole world shat on that movie just because of Ezra Miller, and everyone came out of it like, "What the fuck happened?" I loved the fucking Flash movie, especially how it ended, because it was just the icing on the fucking cake. The cherry on the fucking cake. Actually, it's when Ezra comes out and he's just like, "What the fuck?" And it's just George Clooney. You have 3 Batmen in one movie, and tell me who the fuck has done that before.
I like 50% of that movie. I think there is some good stuff to it, but I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But either way, Michael Keaton, another role, coming back to it after 30 years. The first one is a cult classic. It's like your Hot Topic wet dream. Every girl from the age of 28 to 35 has probably built half of her personality around this movie. And was it good, McManus? How did it work for you? Did it take you back to the days? Did you start wearing those black and white stripy wool arm band things? You know, did it get you there?
I want to go fucking Primark like anyone else. But no, I really did enjoy the movie. I actually like it better than the original.
What? Oh, come on, mate!
Yeah.
It can't be
No,
that
no,
good.
no. It was funny to me. I think I was on the Keaton like high wave because every time he turns up, I was sniggering. It's just the shit
Yeah,
he says, the stuff like I'm a Burton fan. Like I've said this multiple times. I've got plenty of fucking merchandise to fucking like prove it. Like I'm even my ex has a go at me. Like just like you're like one of the biggest females to have Tim Burton shit, and like only bitches have all that. They're like, yeah, well that must make me a bitch then.
wow, yeah. So practical effects, set design, all that sort of stuff. Does it look and feel like the
Yeah, yeah,
original?
and it just someone's just got like just thrown money at this, like totally. It and it's nothing fantastic, but if you if you're a fan of the original, then you're gonna like this movie. Basically,
Yeah. So just
it's
a solid, fun
yeah,
revisit to that character.
and it's just the stuff Keaton says as well, and obviously because like there's just one F bomb in this, and the other one
Yeah.
like they have to bleep, but it it's just it it's just Keaton how he is, how he talks, and yeah,
He slips back into the character.
yeah, perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like he
What?
hasn't missed. Like I said, he hasn't missed a step.
Yeah. What about some of the new cast? Jenna Ortega, Justin Theroux, Willem Dafoe, Marina Baccarin.
Yeah,
Are they all?
Jenna Ortega just feels like Wednesday again. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's why they
it's
cast her.
she's exactly like what her mum was like in the first movie. Miserable
Yeah.
teenage person, hates her parents, blah 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 blah. I need
Yeah,
to get
that
out of
put
this
me
bed.
off really, to be honest. I was just like, oh, that's just such a safe casting. Oh, what about all the executives in the room? Like, what about this will blow your mind? Jenna Ortega as a goth chick. Like, come on, man. We've had
Holy
that like
shit.
4 times in the last year. Like, that kind of gave me like a lot less hope. It's just like, oh, it just feels like you're just taking
It's
somebody
not
who's
it's not her actually. She's not a goth chick, but it's just her black
she's just a
hair
moody,
and
cynical teenager. Yeah.
yeah, because her mum's like is has a TV show like now, and her dad's dead, like, and
He's
her
a
mum
bad bloke in
has
real
a TV
life.
show about paranormal shit. People come on her show to sort out
Is it like
ghosts.
Bill Murray in Ghostbusters 2?
Yeah,
Do you
it's
remember at the
basically
beginning
like
of
that, but
Ghostbusters 2, Bill Murray's got like all these like
she
really
can
like
actually,
fake
but
psychics coming
yeah,
on and stuff?
yeah. No, it's not like fake psychic. There's people on there thinking their house is haunted when it generally is fucking haunted. But they're like, why is all this shit moving? But no one understands that she can actually see fucking dead people, and she always has
Yeah.
done. And it's like her fiance who's like, "Oh, you're full of shit," and then it's like, "I've never." He doesn't believe it, and it's like, "Oh, it's all this trauma that happened to you when you were a child," and it's just like, "Oh," and he finds the flyer and he goes Beetlejuice, and it's like, "Don't fucking say his name." Like if you say his name, it will appear. Like I'm gonna help you now, and like we're gonna say this name to get over your trauma. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
And
And
off we go. Yeah.
yeah, and it just happens. They get transplanted to this like office, and he thinks and Beetlejuice is just a therapist, and it's like, right, here we go, kids. This is like, oh, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
Is he in the movie? Because he's not in the original that much, really. So I'm guessing, do they
He's
keep
in
it
the
the same, or
movie
do
a
they?
lot more than a lot more screen time than the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably a safe bet because that's at the end of the day, you could get away with that in the first movie because nobody knew what it was. But now that people, that's what you're there for, I guess. So you got to get them in there. But what about Willem Dafoe, is he good? Because I love Willem Dafoe,
he's
man.
so good. He's so fucking good. He must have read this script and went, "Fuck
This
it."
is for me. Yeah.
It's so fucking cheesy and brilliant. Like, you just can't help loving the character, because
Yeah.
he plays a dead cop, like a dead actor who plays a cop, but now he's dead, and now he's the head of the police, but he's a dead actor who's not a cop.
Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds
So
perfect
in
for him.
life, he's always stuck in the role, and then he's got his assistant who's been shot as well. Like, this guy's like, he's been blown half up, like he's just missing half of like his skin and his skull,
Yeah.
and he's still in his costume, and his assistant's been shot or something like that. She's got a bullet hole in him, and it's like, I love being a cop. And she just pops up like, "You're not a cop, you're an actor." And he's like, "Thanks, Junie. You always keep me grounded."
Oh, that sounds good. Because the last thing I saw him in was Poor Things, which was fantastic. So I'm always down for more Willem Dafoe. Score good. Anything else? Is it actually funny? Is it like scary? Does it hit all the points, or is it just fun to see Keaton?
Yeah, it does. It hits the points. It's what if you like these franchises of movies, you know what you're in for, and
Yeah,
you're gonna like it.
More of what you like. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell the effects are like a bit better, but when it comes to the sandworms, no, they're fucking not. It's just it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same
they kept the
sandworms.
spirit. Yeah,
same stop motion sandworms. It's like, yes,
right
thank
on.
you.
I might try and catch this if I get time. I'm a bit busy this next coming week, but if they're still showing next week, I might try and get out to it.
I've got to tell you about the dad. They go through a thing of why, like, the dad's not in this, but he's also even
sort of in it.
Yeah,
like he's a dead body or something. From what I've heard,
there's an animation where he gets taken out by a fucking shark, but it's got him. It's a clay animation.
Yeah,
like, he goes down in the South Pacific. Dad drowned. Oh no, he survived the crash. He was hanging on to a piece of debris. Then a shark got him from nowhere, and he just turns up in the afterlife, half cut in fucking, like, he's just got like, that's all that's left of his body. His head and his body, and his arms and shoulders are just there, and he's got massive U out of him. I don't know if that's the biggest fuck you to the fucking guy.
I've heard about this, and I think people were sort of a bit conflicted, because they're like, on one hand, it does make a complete and utter fuck you to him, but also it does mean that he's sort of in the movie, so it's like, it's a little bit uneasy.
Has a story of him trying to find his family, he gets to this place. He turns up in a dry cleaning place in the underworld, and this Asian guy just goes, "Rookie dead people, you go wait in line." It's like, I don't know if you can get fucking away with that.
Well, they did.
And he just goes into the waiting room, picks a number that's astronomical, out of this fucking world. It's just like,
I just hope the actual guy didn't get fucking paid, because he can get melted by a shark in real life, hopefully, but we'll see.
No, but it was quite cool. Like, the whole idea of it was it's just like a fuck you, but it wouldn't make sense, because we can't just go, "Oh, he's dead, he's in the ground," and then his wife,
it's tricky.
The stepmom's in it, but she's still her artsy fartsy self, but she's a lot nicer, because it's like, it's been fucking 30 years.
Catherine O'Hara I love as well, but unfortunately the last thing I saw her in was Argyle, which was not very good at all.
No, you should watch Schitt's Creek.
I keep hearing about that. You know what? I'm doing a lot of TV stuff at the moment. I'm catching up on shows that I should have watched earlier. So Schitt's Creek, I've heard a lot. had a lot of attention over the last few years, so I'll probably get to that at some point. I like Eugene Levy. I like her. So yeah, it's
and
definitely on the
also with
list.
Beetlejuice, you kind of see Beetlejuice's kind of origin
Origin,
story as
you
well.
get more
Yeah,
backstory. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, you
You
see the
got
backstory of his
yeah,
first wife, like, and that's why Monica Belushi is in it.
yeah.
Still fucking
Who,
get it.
from what I've heard, he's just in there to look good, but I don't know. Yeah, say
Yeah,
no more. She does it. She
yeah.
obviously does her job. That's fine.
It's like
Out of
her
5,
own power.
McManus.
Huh?
I
Oh, it's
see.
going to be a
What
4 because it's
4?
going to be a 4. It's not perfect, but I liked it.
You,
It made me
you got
laugh.
what you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And even Danny
Rightio.
DeVito's in it, for fuck's sake.
Nice. That's cool. Gotta love the Veets.
Well, it's a Tim Burton movie, so
Yeah, yeah.
DeVito's
He's been in a
turned up,
couple, so yeah, that makes sense.
and
Um,
and as he's disgusting in everything he turns up in Tim Burton, he's
yeah.
fucking gross in this.
Yeah, from what I understand, they just wanted to make this one and that was it. Like they never wanted to carry on. But I feel like this movie's made quite a bit of money, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Beetlejuice
Oh
3 within the
no,
next 5 to 10 years.
it actually ends to open up a third movie
There you
because he
go.
can't. There's there's a dream sequence at the end, and fucking what's the name? Lydia thinks she's pregnant. Like she gets pregnant. Like when she first gets summoned to Beetlejuice, it's like, he says something about his kids. He's like, I want to know. He's on the way right now. And instantly, Lydia's stomach just starts fucking growing. And then this demon, like baby Beetlejuice, pops out, skids across the floor. And it's like, oh, kid looks like his dad. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun joke that you could either leave it or you could do something with it if they wanted to, which again,
Yeah, no,
it's made quite a bit of money, so we'll probably get another one eventually.
You just see him laying down next to her, and she like turns over to like think he's there, and it's like he's not there, and you just hear him going ah, and like as fucking Freddy does in the distance as he fucks up. It's like, oh,
classic.
It's gonna be like that, is it?
Yeah, glove comes out of the ground or whatever. Yeah, classic. Yeah. Tell you what, coming back for another classic character you hate to love or love to hate in a sequel next week. There's Keats. Gotta love me some Keats. He don't look for a dead man. He hasn't aged a day. What can I say? But next week will be I think it's out next week. It'll be Joker 2. I did not love the first one at all. This one,
I loved it.
I get the feeling you're not looking forward to this.
I loved it. It was like the only way to kind of make that movie make sense is to Donnie Darko it. Like, go watch it the first time, go watch it a second time, then watch it a fucking third time, and then you might get a sense of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably talk about Joker 1 next week. Prelude to our Joker Foily Ado conversation. I think it's next week, might be the following week. Don't quote me on it. But then we'll have another couple of episodes of Agatha and a Joker. Maybe a George will be back. He'll probably see Joker as well, I would imagine. Maybe some news. Didn't really have any news this week. But I think that's about it, mate.
Just quick, there was can't remember what it's called. Hang on. It was
what
Netflix
it was called, leave it in the comments.
There was a
no
Netflix
context.
event. There was a Netflix event today about new upcoming shows.
Okay.
There was a big thing about One Piece. All the characters for One Piece live action season 2 have been announced. Well,
right.
And there was a teaser for Hunger Games season 2.
Rightio.
Yeah.
You mean Squid Games?
Hunger Games, fucking hell. Squid Games season 2. Yeah.
Same thing, same fucking thing. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to that, I guess.
Yeah, a little teaser to The Last Airbender season 2.
Didn't watch season 1, baby. M. Night Shyamalan all the way. Don't care what anyone says. It's a good movie.
The main villain for season 2 of One Piece is John Magliato.
Happy Days. Don't know who that is, but I don't watch One Piece, so it doesn't even matter.
Played Slade Wilson in.
Oh, Joe Manganiello. Manganiello.
Manganiello. That guy.
Mangoes to go.
We're also getting a new fucking hell, Black Mirror season.
You know what? I'm well behind on Black Mirror. I've only seen up to like season 4, probably. I want to watch that Zack Snyder animated series, that Twilight of the Gods or whatever. That looks good.
Yeah, I started watching it last night, but I kept falling asleep. Then I kept waking up.
I'll tell you what, I fell asleep during. I was well excited, so excited to watch that Terminator show. Yeah. I couldn't get into it. Just weren't doing it. Not a lot happening, really.
It was quite good. I
want to give it another shot because I want to watch it all. But I
couldn't watch it in its actual language. It was doing my head in.
Yeah, I wasn't finding it as engrossing as I was hoping. But I'm going to give it another shot for sure, and I'll finish that. But yeah, we will see more TV shows, more classic ones that I'm going to be catching up on that everyone else has seen that I haven't. I might have another one of those finished by the next time we do an episode. I'm
going to say this now. You need to start Lord of the fucking Rings.
Oh, Rings of Power. Yeah, that's a long shot, man.
The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, then the Rings of Power.
Well, I've seen Lord of the Rings, obviously, but you don't want to hear my opinion on Lord of the Rings. That might get me some negativity, But if anyone's got anything negative, anything positive, how did the Lost finale go down for you? How did Beetlejuice feel for you? What was the other thing we talked about? Agatha All Along predictions. Is it just all empty red herrings like WandaVision, or is there more to it? Is there going to be Ghost Rider stuff? Is there going to be Blackheart? Is there going to be Scarlet Witch coming back? I don't know. Anything else? Blade cameo like the end of Eternals, and then we don't see or hear from him again in another 4 years. Who knows? Let us know. Like, subscribe, share if you feel so inclined. Any engagement is good engagement, unless you're my ex-wife. So, on that note, we'll see everyone later. Have a good one.
Peace.
Ooh.